Ladies and gentlemen, this Bitcoin crash is not over. When we jump into the price of Bitcoin, there's a couple of concerning factors which I want to discuss in today's video. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the ETFs because yesterday we recorded the highest number of outflows since the inception of the ETFs. If you watched the Moon Show yesterday, we predicted that today would have a massive outflow because these ETFs operate on a T plus 1 to T plus 2 standard, meaning that after there is the buying and selling activity on the ETFs, usually after 2 days, you see the impact on the outflows. But to be honest with you, I didn't expect it to be an all-time high of Bitcoin ETF outflows. Like $1.1 billion is massive in relative to how big of a crash we experienced. If you go back to all the major crashes since the ETFs came alive, you can see that on the day of the ETFs, we dumped around 21%. And then the second biggest crash was when we had the Japanese yen carry trade, and that was a 30% crash over 3 days. And in the past, let's say 48 hours, Bitcoin has only dumped 13%. So to see the biggest outflow from the ETFs with just a 13% crash, the smallest of all three crashes in Bitcoin's short-term history, is pretty interesting to see. Later on today over on the Moon Show, I will discuss on-chain analytics and show you that a lot of long-term holders are actually taking profit, and the US investors over on Coinbase Spot, they've been selling aggressively in the past 48 hours too. So there's a lot of FUD, a lot of expectation that there will be an extended consolidation or a further drop amongst many, many investors. But I personally don't think that that will be the situation. Yes, I agree the charts look terrible. We're getting a crossover between the three moving averages, which we do not want to see. Those are the 3, 7, and 30 SMAs, which build up the trading system of Consensio. We're getting a parabolic SAR sell. The candle confirmed below the parabolic SAR, which I didn't want to see, right? On the daily time frame, I was really looking for a bullish hammer reversal candle, just like what we saw here back in the Japanese yen carry trade. At least not a huge reversal candle like this one, but some sort of seller exhaustion represented in the wick. But unfortunately, the wick wasn't too great, and we're already trading towards the lows of that wick. So it doesn't look like the best form of price action. On the 4-day time frame, which is what I use with this trading system, you can see that all three of these moving averages are about to cross bearishly into each other. And every single time that has happened on the 4-day Bitcoin time frame, you have experienced a continuation of bearish price action. And in the previous 2021 bull market tops, that actually led into bear market. So I don't think that's going to happen. But for the short term, I'm not expecting any significant bullish reversal to the upside unless we print some sort of reversal pattern on the daily time frame in the form of an ascending triangle, an inverse head and shoulders pattern to perhaps maintain the Bitcoin reaccumulation, the Wyckoff reaccumulation. But until we see that reaccumulation pattern on the spring, so the inverse head and shoulders, or any sort of reversal pattern happening at these price ranges, I'm not going to be longing Bitcoin. That is how I stand in terms of my Bitcoin long trading. But I want to show you a chart that I think is very interesting, and I've been following for a very long time, and it's been incredibly accurate. So even though that the short-term selling pressure is likely not over for Bitcoin, when you look at the M2 money supply, which is the global dollar liquidity overlaid on the price of Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin follows global liquidity exactly the same. Like wherever global liquidity has went, Bitcoin has followed with just a 10-week delay. And yes, even during the Trump pump, when everybody was saying that Bitcoin is pumping because of Trump, yes, that's partially true. But you can also see that the M2 money supply shot up so aggressively, Bitcoin just ended up doing the same. Even during the ETF situation, when M2 money supply consolidated, that was between March and November too. So we've done exactly the same thing. And recently, M2 money supply has crashed, and Bitcoin is just simply following that crash. Does that mean we're going to drop all the way down to $70,000 per Bitcoin? Is that what this means? Well, if we have to, then it is completely okay that we do, because it would just be a 30% correction from all-time high, which Bitcoin has done multiple times in previous cycles. Obviously, technical analysis is right to a particular degree, right? It's never 100%, and my analysis is just me looking at a bunch of data and giving you the most statistically likelihood scenarios. But if we do continue down to the 77 region to close the CME gap in the 70s, then that's only a 30% correction. The bull market would still be intact. In fact, Bitcoin had this 30% correction literally over 3 days, right? So during the Japanese yen carry trade, we did that over 3 days. So dumping to 77 now would literally mean absolutely nothing from a cyclical perspective. You would just close the gap on the CME, you would close the gap on the M2 money supply. And after hitting those levels, then yes, you're just going to continue heading back towards the upside to the later months in the year, and then have the parabolic bullish top in October of this year before going into a recession. So all of those probabilities are on the table. That's why I'm being very hesitant to jump into long positions. What am I doing? I'm accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible all the way down to 77 if that happens. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to set limit orders, which you can do with all the exchanges down in the description below. If you set limit orders to, like, let's say at random levels, all the way from where the price is now to 77, just to buy up the dip as much as possible, I personally think that would be the most smartest way of approaching this Bitcoin correction. And when you go to the Bitcoin 1-day chart, you'll also notice if we put on the VRVP, which is the volume visible profile range, you can see that there is not too much volume from where the price is currently all the way down to the 70s. And if there is a gap in volume and the price decides to tap into that volume gap, well, the issue is because there's a lack of liquidity, volatility increases, and the likelihood of you dropping from, let's say, 87, if you break that support, down to 77, 74, 75 will be very quick because there isn't any buying pressure or selling pressure between that volume gap. So the dropping of the price, just like the increasing of the price, like we saw here, will be as quick. So Bitcoin would, in theory, if we dip below where we are now with a confirmation, then the drop will be as severe as how effective the pump was, which is another issue. That's why we really got to bounce from here and play out the Bitcoin Wyckoff reaccumulation. So yeah, it's just not a great picture, and we can't really do too much with it until we get some sort of a confirmation. But also, this is also a bit of bearish news because yes, Eric Trump, part of the First Family, mentioned that they're buying the dips, and he suggested for people to buy the dips. I was with somebody who is very close to the Trump family yesterday, and the Trump family's only reason to be bullish on Bitcoin is just money. Like, because they see that there is a profitable opportunity by being in crypto and investing in crypto. That's the whole reason why they're investing, why they're involved in the space. That's it. They have their own businesses, they have their own ventures, and obviously they're going to use their influence to their benefit. So don't think that politicians genuinely care about Bitcoin. No, they care about the potential money they can make about Bitcoin and crypto, and that's 95% of all Bitcoin and crypto investors. So I don't blame them. But if you're a hardcore Bitcoiner, then obviously you're not here just for the potential money, but because you believe in the fundamental values of the asset. But the final thing to end off on a bullish note is that individual states are wrapping up their Bitcoin bills, and they're trying to buy Bitcoin and front run the entirety of the United States before they create a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. We could definitely see individual states buying Bitcoin before the Union of the United States does that. So in some way, shape, or form, the US will get exposure into Bitcoin. It's only a matter of time. But guys and girls, with that said, make sure to destroy don't destroy the video, but destroy the like button on this video. Subscribe to become a crypto kid and turn on the notification bell. Guys and girls, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all on the next video very soon tomorrow. So guys, take care. And as always, bye.